programs or they go to these places where they're not built around and put into a situation to where they can most likely succeed. And it's more of they're put in a situation where like the only reason why they succeed is because of them. Like it's because they have to be extraordinary to succeed and to bring their whole team up. And in the case of Cam, even when they do that, even that's not enough. Or even when RG3 did it the first few years, it wasn't enough to get a team actually built around him and not have to look over his shoulder at a 4th round QB every other week. So
they did that the same year. The same year he got drafted.
That's what I'm saying. So like I don't even think it's a second chance. I think even that first chance is just you're already looking over your shoulder. You already have to be everything, and if you're not, then you're nothing. Versus, these other guys, these Tannehills, these Daltons are in a situation where it's like, okay, this is what these guys can do, and we can put a system around them, and I can make it work. But when it comes to Cam and Jameis, it's just, all that talent's not worth it. All that superstar attitude and winning and appeal and mental toughness and been playing the game at the highest level their entire lives is not enough for me. Like, I can't make that work, but I can make this noodle arm work. I can give Alex Smith another shot, but I can't sign Cam Newton or Jameis Winston.
Better yet, I can re-up with Kirk Cousins for 2 years and then trade away the best receiver on the team. I mean, cool. The best receivers on the Minnesota Vikings are a white receiver. Benefited from having Stephon Diggs around.
I'm not really taking that.
I don't think Thielen was ever better than Diggs.
I've never been a fan of Thielen. You know this. One. But two,
but guess what? He's the number one guy now.
I don't think these things are correlated. Like, I don't think Cousins has anything to do with that. Because Cousins actually played well last year. He actually had, like, his best season.
Technically, as far as, like, aside from, like, Derek Carr, he threw for almost 70% of his passes, but he played like shit. Like, that's what I'm saying. With these white quarterbacks, their stats are padded. Andy Dalton is technically, the franchise leader in passing yards for the Bengals? He's ass. Cam Newton is the greatest quarterback in Panthers history and arguably the greatest player. Sans Steve Smith Sr., which, by the way, the Panthers sure do know how to treat offensive skill players on the way out. I mean, Kuechly, he had to retire early. That don't count. But they sure do know how to treat players right on the end of it when they're the face of your franchise. When Steve Smith, nope, you cut him because he couldn't work with Cam. Well, Cam was a rookie, and Steve Smith, who admitted he was a hothead and didn't have the patience to work with Cam, but that could have been something. Cam puts his, gives his body a lot, and then you finally get Christian McCaffrey. Oh, great white hope. Christian McCaffrey is a bad man. But boom, he's the face of the franchise now. So it's like Nick Foles can keep getting contracts when all he has is
starting jobs,
and can kind of give you 1 or 2 good games, but he ain't gonna do shit if he has to. Like when we went up against the Vikings, when he actually has to go out and play 4 quarters and beat you, he ain't doing it. He's doing exactly that at Arizona. But I'm just saying, Andy Dalton. Again, why does Chase Daniels have a job in the NFL? Someone needs to justify his position in the league for me. But then you say Cam can't be a backup. That's what they'll do. Like the whole thing they did with Kaepernick. Oh, he can't be a backup. He has all this talent, dominated the league, but he can't be a backup? That makes no sense.
I think the issue is it's not
that saying Jordan could be a role player. That's like saying Kobe couldn't take a different role towards the end of his career.
He couldn't
Jordan
have.
Could take a different role.
He couldn't have. He didn't want to.
He kind of did. And once he couldn't,
he couldn't
play no more, he retired.
That's why he didn't want to play anymore. He didn't want to take a different role. He said it multiple times. He's not a 20-point guy. He's an all-world dominant player, and if he can't play to that level, then he doesn't want to play. But to your point, I think it's not so much that people don't think that Cam can't be a backup. I think it's more of they know he can be a backup and could potentially beat out their starting guy, and they don't want to have to deal with the quarterback controversy all year. Or even worse, they don't want to have to deal with everything that comes with the superstar that is Cam when he is redeemed and when he does come back. So that's what I'm saying. It's like you can't even put this dude like even football wise, like you put him in a spot and it's like nobody still wants him to succeed. Like it's just nobody wants him to succeed. And it's sad because it's going to cost us. It's going to cost us another half a decade of greatness, or it's going to cost us, the progression that's coming from all this. Like we've been talking about how strong black quarterbacks were last year with Deshaun and Russ and Pat and all these guys, and now here we are. Lamar, and now here we are talking about these guys, and it's like nothing really changed. Like black quarterbacks still aren't put into situations where they can succeed.
And it feels like Cam is the martyr because he was the one who broke the mold. Like he surpassed what a Dante Culpepper, Donovan McNabb, and a Michael Vick did. Like in a sense, as far as rushing, passing.
He put it all together.
Yeah, and if he actually had been given a better offensive line, some receivers, a better offensive coordinator, and actually say, we're going to have you run less, Cam, and have you pass more, then yeah. But I think people got to be honest and act like Cam Newton was a starting running back for the Carolina Panthers for at least 8 years. Let's keep it a buck. For at least 8 years. Jonathan Stewart was washed at one point. They got rid of D'Angelo Williams. He could still play. I think they had Nick Goings at one point. Like Mike Tolbert at one point. And let's be honest, like they ran plays for Cam to run the ball when they should have been trying to make him a pocket passer. Or at least, okay, we're going to have you run more. We're going to have you pass more to set up you running. We're going to have you pass so much that right when teams think you're going to actually pass, boom, you take off run. Develop a quarterback. Like you see what they did with Lamar Jackson. He's developed as a passer. And I think Cam is that last guy where you can't sit up here and say he's like the bridge between the old guard of black quarterbacks and the new guard, to where Kyler Murray can point to Cam Newton and say, I'm going to have that kind of impact, but I'm a passer.
And that's the other thing that I want to point out. And
they're doing him dirty.
For all of, like, I hate to say it, but for all of hillbilly flyover MAGA NFL, it's like, oh, Cam Newton is a me guy. Cam Newton has a prima donna. Cam Newton is an individual. Cam Newton is all about himself. He's not a leader. It's like, those are easy things to say, but you could easily say that about literally any starting quarterback in the NFL, let alone through college and high school. But you have a problem with it just because, one, he's black. Two, he's light-skinned. Three, he's bigger and faster and stronger than you. And four,
Cam's not light-skinned.
Whatever. And four,
Cam's not one of them. He's one of us.
Okay. Anyways,
that's
a whole nother. That's a whole nother issue. Nobody's laughing. Yeah, bro.
Some people are laughing.
No.
Okay, not light-skinned.
You upset more people with your light skin jokes than you make laugh. Just letting you know that. It's kind of problematic. Anyways,
with my light skin jokes, I mean, yeah. Duh.
Anyways, the point is, Cam Newton, like, even if he is all that, like, so what? One, two, like, the man was a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. Like, dude has given back so much to the community. Like, there was all sorts of videos of him, like, hanging out with kids with special needs and donating. Like Cam Newton's a philanthropist. He's a great dude. Like we've talked about the different things he's done on our good news segment throughout the years. So for people to just be like, oh, Cam is this, Cam is that, it's like, one, you don't know him, and two, it's not true, and three, even if it's true, it really doesn't fucking matter. It's just a convenient excuse. That's all it is.
Because Tom Brady's an asshole. Tom Brady's an asshole on the field. Like T.O. said, Tom Brady gets to cuss everybody out and do all types of dickish things, and he gets away with it. I can point to, I'm pretty sure, some white players who act the same way as Cam does, but it's seen differently. No one says anything about J.J. Watt acting like Captain America, but his defense just stay giving up fucking leads. J.J. Watt.
You say it a lot.
Pro player.
You say it a lot. Like you say, people like that's the thing is like a lot of your takes are like people don't say this, people don't say that, but I got a show with you every week, and you literally say some of those things like all the time. So in my head, it's like, bro, I hear that every week.
Yeah, you hear, but that it's like people like J.J. Watt get the John Cena treatment, get the Captain America treatment. And people like even Robert Littell, like journalists have called him out like, yo, you mad quiet on certain issues, but then you Captain America everywhere else. And he's just outlandishly, like Gronk was a meathead. Nobody ever said that Gronk's a leader. So he's hardworking, he's a beast, he's an animal.
Well,
but, like,
I mean, he
Cam
didn't need to
don't
be.
get that same recognition. But Cam wasn't a meathead. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the media. You got to look at it. Like, the media has had a hard-on for Cam since college. Like, they vilified him and his father like they were criminals behind the Heisman thing. Auburn didn't even have his back, and he won them a national title. Like, they didn't even back him and his father. So this dude has been getting scrutinized for everything. He got scrutinized for his pro.
Man, Kenny out here talking like he got one of them laptops.
Shut your ass up. Cam Newton was nice as a freshman in NCAA.
I could just
shut up. But no, like you act like you wouldn't have got a laptop too if you went to Florida at that time. What, he had the laptop, Aaron Hernandez had the drugs, Percy Harvin had the pills probably. Like, come on. Let's be honest. No, Percy had the weed, Aaron had the drugs. The Pouncey brothers probably had muscle. Like, come on. That whole team, the way it was structured. Like, again, there really needs to be like a 30 for 30. Some type of documentary. Just on that Florida team and like a 4-year span. Like, fam. They were probably the closest thing to New Jack City in the flesh that we've ever seen. Like some of them crashed and burned, some of them are still around. Like it's insane. That's Florida team, and the fact that Cam was there for a year. But anyway, like the fact that Cam just has never been given the benefit of the doubt by the media, it's ridiculous. Like all these whack ass, corny ass TV journalist heads, whatever you want to call them, was out there dabbing and doing all this other shit. But they didn't do it until they saw Cam do it, and then they wanted to be cool and try to do it. Like, a lot of these cats are squares in real life. Like, first off, they couldn't go to probably some of the neighborhoods that some of these players grew up in and try to be like that. They wouldn't go there and try to act tough or cool, which is a side point for me, because like I said, when Stuart Scott was, saying booyah on the air, and then all of a sudden, like all his other white co-hosts and anchors started copying his fucking vernacular, and all of a sudden everybody on ESPN now is a hip hop enthusiast, and I'm just like, I remember a time at ESPN where they really weren't allowing that, but that's a whole nother story.
I mean, there's a lot more to that. There's a lot more to that, though, but. I mean, yeah, part of it is also hip hop's a lot more mainstream now, so I think that's also something.
Hip hop's always been mainstream. It's always been more mainstream. But I'm saying,
it started as a counterculture. How can you say a counterculture started as something that's always mainstream? That makes no sense.
I'm not saying from its birth it was a
okay,
thing.
Homer meme,
bro. In 1990. like hip hop has ever since it's been created, at least among black people, it's just been an extension of